Hi everybody, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a video that I'm making for Marcintosh. Marcintosh is a month where we're going to celebrate all things vintage Mac. Other retro computer communities have done something similar to this. We've had DOS, December, and Septandy, of course celebrating all things DOS and all things Tandy computers respectively. And so now the Mac folks among us are going to start something just for us. So just for a quick video today, I thought that it would be cool to showcase some software that I've gotten because I haven't seen many other people have box copies of this. So this is early Macintosh software, and here is what we're going to be looking at today. It is an early box copy of MacDraw for the Macintosh, and it has a sticker on here that says it works with the 128K, 512K, and the XL. And if you haven't heard of the XL, that was basically Apple Lisas that were converted into Macintoshes, so you could kind of recoup the investment that you had for the Lisa, since that didn't really go anywhere. But anyway, I got this off of eBay toward the beginning of the pandemic, actually. And I was really happy to get it because I didn't have any box software from the early Mac. Now I've got, you can see up there in the background, I've got some old games like Dark Forces and X-Wing, but this is the first piece of software really for the original compact Mac that I've got in the box. And so I thought we would just take a quick look at this today and just see what's in the box, basically. MacDraw is basically, as you can see from the picture, MacDraw is basically kind of, well, I guess like layout software is probably what we'll call it. Today, you could, draw plans for your factory distribution. You could draw your, org chart, that kind of things. And it was really just an easy drawing program that's different than Mac Paint, because Mac Paint was focused more on creative aspects, and this was more for, like a technical kind of thing, like a business-oriented thing. But anyway, and you probably also heard of MacWrite, which was the other early Apple software for the Mac that was used for productivity. Sorry, excuse me. Anyway, let's open this up and take a look and see what is inside. So first, I just want to show y'all real quick. This is the inside of the box. And let me adjust my light here. You can see the inside of the box actually has the original Picasso logo. And this is actually inside, printed on the box. It's not like a piece of paper or anything that comes out. It is printed on the box. And so this really shows the attention to detail that this early software has. So I'll just set this up here. And so here in the box. Now when I got this, the manual was actually shrink wrapped. And I debated on whether or not to leave it shrink wrapped. But ultimately I thought, well, hey, I kind of want to look at the manual. So let's set the manual aside for just a second, and I'll show you what else is in the box. So first thing is this bit of paper here that has been stapled, and I'm not sure if someone else put this in there or if this came originally with the box, but this is about an update, and let's just kind of got some basic overview of what was in the update and that kind of thing. Yeah, and it's all, black and white, nothing fancy. And I don't really get the impression that MacDraw was all that popular or important to Apple in the long run. It certainly didn't see any updates. Yeah, this is detailing kind of basically what we would call emojis today, basically emojis that we use. And these are all the different little symbols that you can use in the program after this update anyway. And it's interesting, they got like a Picasso logo up here from the Picasso Macintosh logo and the closed Apple logo, from the Apple II series. But so anyway, so that is that. And then under that, this is the shrink wrap that was on the manual. Under that, we have the disc and tape. Now, I haven't actually opened the cassette tape, mainly because, A, since I'm deaf, I probably won't be able to understand most of it, but B, I don't think I have a single device in the house anymore that will actually play cassettes. But anyway, so this is a guided tour of the software. Now, the original Mac also had a cassette with it. That was a guided tour of the Macintosh. If you're looking to complete your original Macintosh set, you definitely need one of those. But anyway, so they have the guided tour cassette tape, and then there is the guided tour disc. These discs are really stuck in there, and the first time I thought I was going to break the thing getting it out. But anyway, there you go. You can see underneath the disc, there is an Apple logo, like embossed in the plastic. So again, like really high level of attention to detail, and really makes you feel like you're getting a really exclusive, expensive piece of software when you buy this thing. But anyway, here is the disc for the guided tour itself, and it's just a regular single-sided 400K disc. You can see that the label is really starting to go. The glue is coming undone. But as far as I know, the disc works just fine. I'm not going to show that today. But anyway, so that would be the guided tour that you would boot your Mac with this disc, and then you would take a guided tour of the software using presumably the audio cassette as a guide. So anyway, down here we have the actual disc itself. Now there's two discs, and you might be thinking that, well, one must be install 1 and one's install 2, but they're not. They're just the program, and they give you two discs. And the reason they did that is because they thought, well, you're going to want to make a backup of the software anyway. Remember, when this came out, there wasn't a hard drive in the compact Macs. And so if you lost this disk, you were SOL, you wouldn't be able to use software at all. So they gave you two in case you lost one. And of course, presumably you can make your own backup copies as well. But it's nice that they have two discs included. And it's even more nice that this package actually came with both discs. And they didn't, lose one over the years. And of course, the labels have the same problem with, the glue is coming apart. And that's really a problem with most vintage software from this era. It's just stuff is just getting old. And, some people like to redo the labels, and some people just like to leave them as it is. Myself, I was a little worried about actually using this in my Mac SE because I didn't want this label to come off in the drive. But I did test it, and it does work. It works just fine. But anyway, let me show you. The last thing here in this package is the manual. Now, I debated whether or not to take the shrink wrap off of this manual, but ultimately I decided that, I wanted to be able to look at the manual. I looked online to see if there was a copy of the manual, and I couldn't find one. There probably is one somewhere. Sometime, maybe when I'm not in the pandemic times, and I can actually get up to the office where I have a good flatbed scanner, I'll try to maybe get this scanned and put up on archive.org if it's not there already. But anyway, this is the manual for MacDraw. It's a pretty substantial manual. I would imagine it's very similar to the manual for the Macintosh itself. And yeah, it is really cool. Look at these hand-drawn illustrations. Well, I guess not hand-drawn. I guess these are examples of what you can do with the software. Although it would take a lot of work to get all these illustrations in MacDraw. But anyways, yeah, so they start with some basic concepts, showing all the tools and everything. And it goes into much more detail about, like, you know, how do you start this? Like, you know, turn on your Mac, insert the disk, and double click on the icon, and, you know, stuff that's second nature to us now. But when this came out in, you know, 1984, 1885, this was brand new to everybody. And, you know, stuff like how to use clip art and fonts and things like that, that just second nature to anyone that's used a computer for more than, you know, a month or so now. And it's just brand new, and we had to teach everybody how to do this. And it goes into a lot more detail about, like, how to use objects, how to use curves, and how to draw things. It's really quite a pretty cool manual to look through. And, you know, here's the thing. It's like, Birdathon 84. Don't miss it. What the heck is that? But, yeah. I just think this manual is really, really cool. It's one of the things that I enjoy most about collecting retro computers is looking back at things like this, seeing how things have changed, seeing how much, you know, what it used to be like when computers first came out and people didn't know how to use them, people didn't know what to do with them. And yeah, it's just really cool. And you know, collecting like paper ephemera like this is really one of my favorite things, because it really allows you to really step back in time. You know, I mean, I have to admit, you know, I don't use like my Mac SE for all that much. I play some games every now and then, and I have a journal that I've been keeping, you know, on it from the pandemic. In fact, I have a journal on all of my vintage Macs, and someday I'll probably have to combine all that together. But anyway, yeah, this collecting ephemera is just one of the coolest things that you can collect, just because it really gives you a sense of the place and the time and where things have been and how far we've come. But yeah, it's got one last thing. It got a little handy thing here that you can, you know, it even tells you like what you're supposed to do. Oh, use this flap as like a bookmark. But anyway, yeah, there we go. Apple Computer, 2525 Mariana Avenue, Cupertino. So yeah, it's really early, really cool stuff. I was really excited to find this, and I just thought that I would show it off for Macintosh. And anyway, that is all that I have got for today. And thank you for sticking around and watching this video, assuming that you made it this far. And we will see you next time.